everybody, Anthony Alfredo here. I hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm going to be filming that Q&A you may have seen I mentioned on my social media a while back. I didn't get as many questions as I had hoped I would have, but it's alright. I'm going to do it cumulatively across all my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we'll see what we got here, and I'll answer your questions. We'll start off with Instagram. So H. Miller Motorsports asks, from a fan standpoint, what brings your interest in watching a race, and what kinds of races do you like the most as a spectator? That's a pretty hard question to answer. For me, my biggest interest is the fact that I'm trying to pursue a career in racing. So I watch it because not only do I enjoy watching as a fan, but it also, even if I'm watching it as a fan, it indirectly is helping me as a driver because I'm learning things as I watch, whether it's race strategy, things that drivers are doing, and so on. When it comes to the kinds of races I like to watch, I'm not sure whether you mean what type of racing or I think he means what type of NASCAR races, whether it's super speedway, intermediate tracks, or short tracks. Definitely short tracks. I think they're the most entertaining, the most excitement, a lot of bumping and rubbing, so that's the exciting racing for a fan to see, and as a driver as well. Ryan Dirk asks, best tips you can give someone that's looking to get their foot in the door, any advice for people that are trying to get into racing? Honestly, my best advice is just keep working hard, and everybody you meet in the racing industry, the communities, it seems like a large community, but at the same time it's like everybody knows each other, it's really not that big. So you're always networking no matter who you're talking to. So always make a good first impression. Those connections, you never know who somebody else may know, whether that could be a potential sponsor or a team owner, another racer, and you can learn a lot from those people. Sarah Burgess asks, I believe that's how you say her last name. I know she races off-road trucks, so shout out to you, Sarah. What was your first car? So if that is first race car, the first car I ever raced was a legend car, and then I got into a full-bodied stock car, which was a late model or limited late model. My first street car was the vehicle I actually still drive now, which is my 2012 GMC Sierra. I can't pronounce this next person's last name, so I'm going to say Minerva is her first name. It's hard to pronounce. What motivates you to race, and who is your favorite driver? My favorite driver is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who I know he recently stepped away, so it's hard to pick a new active driver. I think I'd have to pick Martin Truex Jr., but the reason I say Dale Earnhardt Jr. is because I was always a fan of him growing up, and obviously I drove for his race team last year, which was a dream come true in all honesty. That was pretty surreal, and it's still crazy to me even now after the fact. What motivates me to race is to pursue a career. My passion is something I'm really fortunate to be able to do, and if I could do it as a living, I would just be a blessing. I really want to do what I love for a living, because I think we'd all like to do what we want, what we enjoy most in life. DaCosta933 asks, as a fan from Connecticut, will you be coming to race at Lime Rock, Thompson, Waterford, etc. soon? So we'll be at New Hampshire Motor Speedway on September 22nd. That's our next race. We did race at the Thompson Motor Speedway Oval, so we were already there. But that was our only trip to Connecticut. We don't go to Lime Rock or anything like that. No more road courses on the schedule. Angie DeBlasi asks, who was the race car driver you looked up to growing up? That goes back to the other question, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's a great role model for young racers like myself, supports the grassroots racing community, and obviously he was very successful as a driver, and I just think the fact that he's still involved with the sport even after retiring is very inspirational, and he's someone I look up to. I'm pretty sure this is Kellen Brewer, one of my friends from back home when I was growing up. He asks, what's your favorite cereal that ends in S? Probably Lucky Charms. My brother Rob Alfredo Jr. asks, if you pamper a cow, do you get spoiled milk? I don't know. Sure, I guess. No, right? It's still normal milk. Now, moving on to Twitter, which I only got one question on, so that kind of stinks. But thanks to Food Strickle for the one question. How did you decide you wanted to become a driver, and who is your favorite YouTuber? I'll answer the second part first. Favorite YouTuber, that's very hard to answer. Probably FaZe Apex, because I've always been a big fan of FaZe Clan growing up. It's like, always was a dream of mine to join FaZe, especially when I was younger, but even now. Like, if I could be involved somehow, that would be a dream come true. But FaZe Apex, he's probably one of my favorite FaZe members, and since I was really into gaming and everything and watching a lot of the members in FaZe, I watched him the most. And I was subscribed to a lot of them. I still am and still watch their videos. They haven't uploaded a lot lately, but definitely FaZe Apex. How do you decide you want to become a race car driver? I just had always been a fan of the sport. I grew up with my parents always watching and being fans of the sport, so I was watching it with them, and I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to test the Legend car out, to get my feet wet, see if it was for me, because I wanted to try it out, and I did pretty well. I loved every minute of it, and it seems like it's gone by super fast ever since, and 4 years later, here I am. Last but not least, we're on my Facebook page now. We're gonna start off with Aaron Matthew. How did your time at Junior Motorsports differ and or prepare you for working with the guys at MDM Motorsports? Curious, since Shane Huffman and Mark McFarland were at Junior Motorsports in their driving careers, and what, if anything, transferred over for you, maybe as it did them. I think for me personally, the biggest thing was the experience, obviously, racing. I learned a lot being teammates with Josh Berry, who I was able to feed off him for a lot of information and could learn a lot about racing from him, and obviously it was just another year of experience under my belt. A second thing that helped me a lot was hanging out with a lot of the people who worked in the front office, so to speak, at Junior Motorsports, and they taught me a lot about the business end of things and really just the whole side of the industry I knew nothing about and I'm still learning about. But yes, Shane and Mark are great guys. Very fortunate to be a part of their race team and be able to work alongside of them. Michelle asks, do you have a certain driver that you have admired, one that you follow, and what made you decide to become a race car driver? Answered both those questions, so perfect. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the driver I admired, and being a fan and wanting to try it out for myself. Mark asks, which track do you look forward to racing at someday? Also, hello from Milford, Connecticut. I live right near there, or, well, I don't currently, but my family does, so hello, Mark. And I think for me, it's not only about the tracks, it's about the races themselves, like the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, and the Bojangles Southern 500, and of course, Bass Pro NRA night at the races at Bristol. So those are tracks I want to go to, but also big races that are prestigious and would be very cool to be a part of. Darren asked, got anything prepared for 2019, Anthony? Unfortunately, no news for you guys yet. Working on some things. Nothing that I'm hiding and that I can't announce, although I would rather that, but we're working on some things, trying to figure out what we're going to end up doing. Hopefully we'll be on the track full time next year again. Well, everybody, that concludes today's Q&A, question and answer. I'd like to do this again. Hopefully our community continues to grow and I'll have more questions. Feel free to ask more in the comments and I'll reply to them, or maybe I'll save them for another one of these videos. But I really appreciate your guys' support. Of course, if you haven't already, follow my social medias where I read all those comments from. My Twitter and Instagram, the handles are Anthony F. Alfredo. Links are in the description, as well as my Facebook page link, which is Anthony Alfredo Racing. It's always interesting to go through your guys' comments, see what questions you have, and be able to converse with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed once again. Please hit that like button. It really helps me out and I appreciate it. Comment video ideas, what you thought of this video, and of course more questions as I mentioned before. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe. Our community has been growing pretty significantly lately and it's great to see, so I hope it continues to. Don't forget to share with your friends and family, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.